I don't know how well it's showing up there, but that's Orion's belt. Always like looking at it. I don't know what that bright star there is in the middle. But a little update for inside the garage here. There was a countertop with a shelf and a bottom, and it was junky quality. The shelves were particle board and falling apart. There's mice living under it, so I ripped them all out. And I'm working on taking off all of this. And it's not even rough sawn. I don't know what wood this is. It's a softwood of some sort, but I can't figure out which type it is. Suppose that's more of a natural color there. So if somebody knows, let me know. I want to sell those pieces that I'm salvaging. And my plan for this is, I have a bunch of stuff in the middle of the garage that's just, I think, is frustrating. And I'll need to move it to have access to do the ceiling. But I don't have any more walls to put things against, so they're just in the middle. So I need to like finish this wall so I can put things against it. It's just musical chairs of, well, not junk. I mean, it's all useful, good stuff. Whatever. So I'm going to do this wall first, and I've developed a plan. I'm going to do 2x3s. It's going to be shimmed at the bottom and top. And it's going to be insulated, and it's going to be plumb, because none of this is plumb. And I'm not going to try hanging fresh plywood over top of that stuff, because none of it's 24 inches on center. And I want a little bit more insulation for here, so I don't have to pay as much to heat it or heat it at all, if I can get away with it. Because in the winter it might be like 55 degrees, and that's perfectly acceptable. Because presumably the heat from the ground and the concrete will radiate and heat it a little bit. And I'll get free heating from the ceiling too, sort of a little bit, because the house is above. And then I'll put in 2 phases of 120 alternating like every 4 feet. I'm going to do that the whole way around the garage. And then somewhere on this wall, probably in the middle, I'm going to have a drop of 220 20 amp. And that will provide higher power for tools as needed, like maybe a bandsaw or a joiner. And I'm going to do that on every wall. So I'm going to have 220 there, 220 there, 220 there. And then in the middle, I'm going to have another drop of 220 and 110. I'm going to put my table saw in the middle here, and I'm going to bust out these concrete blocks. There was a wall here that's now gone because we don't need any supporting walls for these trusses. And I'm going to run the dust pipe and conduit there, and I'm going to have the table saw with concealed dust pipe, which will be awesome. And then the floors are all going to be covered with a fresh layer of concrete, well, insulation and then concrete. I realized I just said insulation on the floors when I also mentioned heat from the floors. You know, one of the two. If I do have to heat it, I'd prefer it to be insulated, and I can't insulate under concrete after it's already poured, so I'm not going to do that. And that also explains why there's a little bit of a step here under my doorway, because that'll be a little bit above the finished concrete level. And I'm going to do fiber heavy concrete, so I don't have to put any wire reinforcing in. And that'll all go in after the walls are framed. All of the walls are framed with the additional layer. The only tricky thing here I have is I have 220 there for the grinder pump. So I need to somehow undo that wiring and get the sheathing off. And I might be able to just remove, well, there's a box on the other side, so I'll undo the wiring, pull everything back in, and then remove this metal, and that'll be framed in a wall. I had to do it like this, just kind of to keep the inspector happy, because technically anything below 8 feet, you shouldn't be having exposed wires. And then there's another 220 there for the mini split, and I'm probably going to do the same thing there, because there's a disconnect box outside there. And then there's a water spigot here, which I could just probably pull out, do everything, and then put it back in. That might be the easiest, and that might be what I do. I'm going to try doing it without disconnecting it first. And then all of this is going to be framed inside its own little box in the corner that will be uninsulated. Well, there will be insulation here, but nothing here. So this should never freeze in the winter. And I'll put in like a vent or something so it gets circulation from inside the room here. But this is on a separate valve block, or valve on my valve block, Vega valve block. So I can shut off this individual circuit, no problem at all. What else? I'm going to have to do a little block here too, because I have the mini split hoses coming in here. So I have the 2 compressor lines, and that's a condensate drain, and then that's line running to the internal head of the mini split. And those do stick out a little bit, so I'll have to do a box around them too. Okay. Hope you enjoyed my rambling and explanation without any faces. Bye.